Hello everyone, it's Kathy and you're back with me on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm located here in the beautiful state of North Carolina, and I want to welcome you in. We are continuing with our Christmas card series and actually it's not just Christmas cards. We are going to be doing a lot more than just Christmas cards. So I do have an ornament that's going to be coming up that I think you're going to really love. But today I want to work on this little pop-up Christmas card that I did. I did this card and I made a different one that I actually put up on my channel, but I had a subscriber that wanted to see exactly how I did these little critters coming out of the stockings, and this was a very easy card to make. If y'all tuned in and watched me do the last card, which was the little pop-up gift card holder, it's done on the same principle as this. So I'm going to show you how to do it all over again, but this time we're going to use the sweet little stocking stamp set coordinated with the dies that come with this. And if you order this in a bundle, you can save 10% off of ordering them separate. You may only want the dies, and that's fine if you do, but the stamps are so cute. These little critters are just absolutely adorable. They color up beautifully, and I used alcohol markers on that. All we're going to need to make this is going to be this bundle and the seasonal label dies, which we're going to use these for our sentiment. The labels that I used here for our sentiment. You're going to need some cardstock, and I used the very vanilla. I used a basic white, and I think I used the thick. This feels like the thick cardstock. I used the Designer Series paper that comes in this collection, and this is called the Sweet Stockings 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And we're going to pull out some of the paper that I used. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all my supplies, and then I'll come back with all of my cutting dimensions, and we'll put this card together. We'll be right back. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to take a piece of our thick basic white cardstock. We're going to put this in our trimmer on the 11-inch side, and I'm going to bring it over to 5.5. And this is going to give us a A2 size card. But let me tell you a trick. If you want to, let me zoom y'all out just a little bit. Oops, wrong way. If you want to turn it and put it in your scoreboard or your trimmer at 4 1/4 and score it first, I'll show you this little trick. You can score this at 4 1/4 and then turn it and cut it at 5.5. And this will give you 2 card bases already cut and scored. So now you have 1 card base here, and you have another card base right here. Now I like to turn mine into my trimmer like this, and I like to press it down, and I like to use a bone folder right here. This always gives me a perfect card base. So that is the reason why I like to do it this way. And the same with this one. We're going to put it in over here, bring that piece over, and then score it down. And this will assure that every time you get a perfect card base. Now for this piece, we're going to need, well, first let's cut our cherry cobbler. So I'm going to cut this piece at 4 inches. Yeah, let's go 4 inches. And then I'm going to turn it and do it to 5 1/4. And this will give us a mat for the front of our card. So I'm going to move this one over here. And now we have the mat that's going to go right there. So now we need a piece of Designer Series paper that's going to go in the front, and that's where we're going to cut that from this piece. But we want to make sure we're cutting our width in this direction. So the widest part of our card needs to go with our lines going in this direction. This is because this is directional paper, so always make sure you are mindful of that. And we know that this piece is 5 1/4. So I want to cut this at 5 inches, just a 1/4 inch less. So I'm going to put it in on the 5-inch mark and slice that. Now we're going to turn it and we know that this is 4 inches, so we're going to go 1/4 inch less than that, which is going to be 3 3/4. So just 1/4 less than 4 inches, and then we're going to slice that. This will give us our perfect mats all the way up from our card base all the way into our designer series paper, just like that. And I like that white. I think I like the white better than using the off-white. But again, this was a prototype, and when I made it, I wasn't really thinking. I was just trying to do a prototype. But since I had a follower that liked that so much, I wanted to come back and make this beautiful little stocking pop-up card, because it is just adorable. Don't you think it's adorable? So we're going to cut the inside, our little element piece, and this piece needs to be 8 by 4 and let's see, 8 inches. So we're going to cut off a 1/2 inch off of this side, because we know this is 8 1/2. So if we take a 1/2 inch off right there, now we have our 8 inches, and we need to cut it at 5 1/4. 5 1/4. And now all we have to do is score this at 4. So I'm going to put it on the 4 inch mark. I'm going to move that cut blade out of my way, and we're going to score that at 4. And once I get that scored, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score this down nice and tight. Remember what I told you, anytime you're doing a pop-up card or any card that's got this many layers in it, you want to make sure that you are getting your creases really nice and tight. Now I'm going to bring this over, and this is the folded edge right here. I want to put that on my 1 inch mark right there. And I'm going to score this, and I'm going to score it really hard, because I want it to score through both layers of paper. So I want the score line on both sides. Now I'm going to bring it back over to 1 inch, and I'm going to move my score blade out of the way, because this time we're going to cut. We're going to cut from the top down to that score line, which was 1 inch. So I'm going to bring that blade down to right there and lift it. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I want to do the same thing on this side. Line it up to the 1 inch, and I'm going to bring my cut blade down right there on that 1 inch mark. I'm going to sink my blade down into my paper and just slice up. And I'm going to look and make sure, and that looks perfect. So now what we want to do is we want to fold it. Fold these in like that. Crease everything down nice and tight. And now you should have your perfect little piece that will fold just like this. And we want to fold that down like that. You want to make sure that you're folding it in both directions so that you're getting that perfect little fold in there. And then that's going to be perfect to go inside of our card, just like this. But we want to decorate this piece of paper just like we did in here. And in order to do that, we're going to cut a piece of that designer series paper. And I think we're going to use this piece right here. And for this, we want the piece to go all the way across. So we're actually going to cut this piece. Let me get my ruler. We're going to cut this piece at 5 1/4 by 4, and then we'll trim some more off of it. So 5 1/4. Let's cut it off at 4 first, and then we can trim it out. So I'm going to go this way first and cut that at 4. Then we're going to turn it and do it at 5 1/4. And as you can see, this piece now will fit in here just like that. But we're going to trim this up, so I'm going to put this in at 1 inch, and we're going to score it. You want to score that a little easier because this is designer series paper. Now we're going to go in at 1 inch. We're doing the same thing we did on this mechanism. We're going to go over to the 1 inch. I'm going to move my score blade out of the way. I'm going to bring my cut blade up, making sure I keep that right there on the 1 inch mark. And I'm going to bring that cut blade down to the 1 inch and slice up. And then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Line it up to the 1, and then we're going to cut down to that 1 inch mark. Using your guidelines, if you have this trimmer, it's so easy because you can see exactly where it needs to be. And now this piece should fit perfectly on here, just like that. And it fits beautifully. See what I mean? Now the little piece that we have here, if you want to slice that out, you can. But what I like to do is just glue it directly down to that top, just like that. So when you fold that out, this whole piece will glue onto here, but everything will move because we've made our cuts. See how nice and simple that is? So now we can go ahead and glue this piece onto that piece. And we're going to take another little piece of this, and we're going to put a piece right across the bottom, maybe right about there. But let's go ahead and get this cut first, or get this glued in. And this piece needs to be about 1 inch, maybe 1 1/4. I cut it 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then this piece can go right here, and this will leave us a place right here to, to stamp our sentiment. Of course, I dropped my paper on the floor, so I had to reach for it. All right, we've gotten everything, all of our elements are ready for our card. So now we need to decide, let's grab some white paper, and let's go ahead and stamp our 3 little critters that we have here. We've got a kitty cat, we have a puppy dog, and we have a little gerbil or hamster. So stinking cute. And I also want to grab the little Santa hat, and I think that's all we're going to need to stamp out. So I'm going to grab this little scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to bring my little puppy dog and my kitty cat and my hamster, and I think I'm going to run them down the side right there, and my hat. And because these are photopolymer stamps, I am going to bring over my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I'm going to stamp these, I think, one at a time. So let's move the rest of these over. I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black because, like I said, I am going to do some alcohol blending on these. So I'm going to do my puppy first. So cute. And I'm giving myself enough of space to be able to cut these out because we have dies that we can cut with. So there's the puppy. And then we're going to get our little kitty cat. Nope, not quite big enough for the kitty cat, so let's load up the hamster. Grab another one for the kitty. And I'm just going to go ahead and ink these up. So cute. And we'll do our hamster or gerbil. And then we'll grab our Santa hat, and I'm just going to pick the Santa hat up on the back of the stamp block with the gerbil. And we'll stamp the Santa hat right there. Now, the reason I wanted to stamp these all the way down like this, I can actually press this through run this through my die machine in one pass, and that makes it so much easier when you are die cutting, because not really easier, but I should say faster. This will be a much faster way to run everything through. Alright everybody, I got for my dog, I think I'm going to use the bronze and this ivory. These come in a group and they are blendable, but then you can cross colors and blend any colors together that you like. I also have my light and dark crumb cake, and I thought the hamster would be cute in those colors. And I got the smoky slate because we're going to do our cat as a little gray kitty, and I think that'd be cute. I also pulled in my real red light and dark because I want to do my Santa hat with those colors. So I'm going to start off, I think, with the crumb cake, and I think I'm going to start here with my little hamster. And I just want to kind of put down some of the dark color, and I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I'm just going to do a little streak of color through his whiskers, a little bit on his paws, and maybe a little bit around his head and ears. And then I'm going to come back with that light color, and I think what I want to do with this is I just want to pull this dark down into his face. See how well those colors blend. Just such good blending with these Stampin' blends. I love them. So I'm just going to continue to color. He doesn't have to have a lot of color, just a little bit around the top of his head. And I am going to grab just a little dot of pink, and I think for the pink I'm going to use the light polished pink. And I just want to do a little bit of pink on his nose, right about there. I'm going to use my color lifter for this, because I don't like the fact that I lightened his eye so much right there that it doesn't look like an eye anymore. That's what's so great about the color lifter. You can come back and you can lift some of that color out, but we showed just a tiny bit of that pink there. So I'm going to hang on to that pink for just a little bit. Now we're going to do our kitty. And I'm going to do the same thing with the kitty. I just want to put down a little bit of color right through here, along his whiskers, maybe a little bit up in his ears and across the top of his head, and right there and there. And I'll come back with that lighter color. And I just want to blend all of this in. And I'm just doing little circular motions just to kind of get that color blended. That looks really, really good. Alright, I like the way the kitty looked, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go in and put just a tiny little dot of pink right there on his nose and around its mouth, just ever so slightly. Now we have our cute little doggy, and I'm going to do the same with this. I want to go in and give him just a little bit of color around here. So I'm tracing that out. And speaking of dogs, my little Bella is over here snoring up a storm. I'm sure y'all hear her. I'm going to go up here in his paws and his ears, and just a little bit more color here. just like that. And then I want to come back with this beautiful ivory, and we are going to, and I'm using the brush tip because I really want to blend this color in. And I think I'm going to go back with the dark crumb cake. Remember what I told you, you can always come back in with other colors. And I'm going to put a little bit of dark on his little snout, just to make his snout look a little bit darker, and on up into there. And then I'm going to take the ivory and just blend it. Just like that. And that's all I'm going to do to these, and I think that was plenty. Now I'm going to grab my real red, and I think I'm going to start off with the dark. And what I want to do is I just want to trace around the edge of the hat, like that, where I want that red to be. And then I'm going to pull that darker color in using my lighter color. Just like this. And I'm just going to leave the rest of it like it is because I want it to look like it's got some red and white. Now, aren't those stinking cute? Now what I need to do is grab my dies. Now we're ready to cut these out. So we can put this back on like that. My little kitty cat on like this. And my little hamster. This is just so much fun. I so enjoy when I can stamp and color and die cut. Those are just, that's just fun. So I'm gonna stamp, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these all out. And what's so neat about this is on my die plate, I am gonna lay this entire piece down, put my cut plate over top of it, and run these all through in one sweep, that with our stockings. But there's our puppy, there's our kitty, there's our hamster, and there's our little hat. And how cute are those? Now if you didn't get enough of the white off of there, you can always come back with your scissors. But if you don't cut these completely like as close as you want them, you can always come back and just do a tiny bit. And this was my fault because I didn't have them on there just quite like I needed them. But look how easy that is, just to come around and trim out just a tiny bit of that. And you can do the same thing around here. If you didn't get that quite as neat as you want it, you can just trim it out. And I'm going to continue up around this edge just a little bit. I think it's more noticeable on my kitty than it is anything else. So if you don't get them trimmed out just as nice as you would like them, you know, don't be afraid to trim. You can always trim a little bit of that off. I think everything else is perfect. So I am going to put my machine back together. The only other thing that I need to cut is I do need to cut my stockings. So I think I want this one and this one and this one, and maybe this one or that one. Maybe we'll do this and this and this. I think that'd be cute. So let's see here. You know, it doesn't really matter. Let's just do here, here, and here. I think that'd be cute. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut. Let me just cut these out right here. What this is going to give me is enough to be able to cut a few stockings out. So I'm just going to pull that piece off just like that. And I'm going to grab my stocking dies. And we have 3 sizes in here, so it will cut out any one of these 3. So this is this one. So if you wanted to cut, you know, to make it quick, I would cut this one, and then either one of these. But if you want to cut the 2 larger ones, you could cut this one, and then this one, and then that one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the stockings, and I will meet right back up with you in just a moment. Alright, so I got my stockings cut out from the Designer Series paper, and they die cut so beautifully. And now what we want to do is stamp the stockings for the front of our card. So I have a piece of the cherry cobbler, and I've loaded up my stamps. I have the smaller stocking and the medium stocking from the stamp set. So I chose these 2 right here. And we're going to stamp those in tuxedo black. You can stamp these in any color. Totally your choice. I need 2 of the larger ones. So I'm going to go here. And here. And then I think we'll be able to get the small one right there. So ink that up. And stamp it off right here. And now all we have to do is die cut those. So I'm going to go die cut those, and we'll meet right back up, and we're almost ready to start assembling our card. Alright, I got these pieces cut out using the beautiful dies that comes with this set. And I also, while I was cutting, I went ahead and cut my little trimmings that I want to put on these stockings. And I think these just add so much to the entire aspect of these stockings, because you got your little heel piece, you've got your little toe piece, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Now I've been having some cramping in my hands, so if y'all see my hands kind of go a little haywire and I'm pulling on them, I do apologize. I get these real often. I do take meds for it, but recently for some reason it's really flared up bad again. So if you see my hands kind of drawing and what have you, please don't be alarmed. It is something that I deal with in my hands, arms, feet, and legs. So what I did too is I went ahead and put my label dies, one on a piece of cherry cobbler, the larger one, and the smaller one on a piece of basic white. And I'm going to run these through really quick. This should not take long, and I'm going to try to do them both at the same time. So I'm going to peel that off. And now we have our label. And put this back together. We're just about ready now to start putting everything together, which that's always the goal. And when I'm making a card, I like to get all of my elements and then put everything together. Then if I need to go back and add something, I can just go back and cut. But I think this is just a really neat way to do your cards. I'm going to lay those dies right there. This is where we're going to do some stamping on the white one, and it's going to nestle right into that beautiful cherry cobbler. Alright, there's our 3 little stockings that our critters are going to be sticking out of, and I've got my critters over here and my little Santa hat. So I think the first thing I want to do is go ahead and adhere these pieces on, and I'm just going to do that using some glue. Just like that. And I think I am going to use my Take Your Pick tool because my hands are not feeling the best in the world, and this might help me get things on here a little bit better. There goes my finger again. Like I said, it has just really been kicking me, and it can be very painful when they take off drawing like that. Alright, I'm going to put glue on the back of this piece because I don't want too much glue, but I want enough to hold it. And that's going to go right on the toe, just like that. And then we have our other little piece for the heel, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it over and put just a tiny bit of glue. And sit that down right about there. So cute. That just to me adds so much to that stocking. I'm going to do it again to this one. This one I'm leaving as is, but these ones I want to do that little bit of decorating on it, and these are going to go on the side, and the solid one's going to go in the middle. And I'm doing this card very, very much like I did the prototype that I showed in my video that prompted my customer to want to, or my follower, to want to see how I did this. And I love that. If you have suggestions of something that you would like to see done, if you leave me a comment or email me, and I'll see what I can do to accommodate you. So I love to teach, and oops, wrong one. This one goes on the toe. I guess I can't walk and chew gum, y'all. That old cliche. Let's see if we can get that down on the sticky. Yep, that works. You know what? I put these down wrong. These go like this. That's why it wasn't fitting too well. Let's see if we can. I'm going to try my undo and see if I can get that glue to come up without tearing my paper. And I need a little spatula. Trying to do this so that I don't have to recut it, but you know what, if we do, maybe we'll just recut the white piece and that should work. At least I got it off of there. So I'm going to go back and cut one more of these, and then we'll bring this piece back over, and we should be able to camouflage that pretty well. So let me put my, this is I saw another YouTuber using this, and this stuff is awesome. It is just called Undo Remover, and it comes with this little tray so that it kind of holds your liquid. It evaporates very quickly, and it does take glue and adhesive up so you can salvage. So it's a good little thing to have in your stash. And I do grab for this quite often. If I put something down like I did that in the wrong direction, it really does help to be able to lift it up. So let's get a little bit of glue right here. And then put that down like that. And no one's the wiser of the boo-boo, except everyone that's watching. So again, that's a great way to fix something if you glue something down wrong. And I always love to be able to show y'all hints like that. All right, the next thing that we need to do, so these are going to go like that on the front, and I think they're going to be gorgeous. And I actually have a little bow and some holly, and I thought that would be cute on the solid one. So I think what I'm going to do is cut out of a piece of green, and I'm going to grab this lighter green since it matches, and I believe this color is, this is the way I like to match my colors up when I'm not sure. Okay, it's not garden green. It's not old olive. So it's either pear pizzazz or granny apple. It's pear pizzazz. So let's find pear pizzazz. And that's how I can match and see. So this is pear pizzazz. And that's something that you can make yourself if you're interested in making a little swatch. And then all you do is just label it using address labels. Very handy little tool to have. It might be a little time consuming to make it, but I think it would be very nice to have in your stash to be able to look at. I'm going to cut a couple of these leaves out. There's my leaves. I have another set over here. And then I'm going to take this red. I don't think the red's going to show on there, so let's do white. I'm going to do a couple of these, and I'm just going to lay this down in this in-between spots. I like the fact that they are 3 pieces. I mean, they're all together. You don't have to try to do individual little hairy holly balls, which can be a little bit tedious, especially when they're this small. So I'm going to put that die right there. And I think I want to do the bow out of the green. So I'm going to bring my green piece back over. And I have this cute little bow. I don't know, the bow might look cute out of white. Yeah, let's do the white bow. If we don't like it, we can always come back and cut it out of a different color, right? Right. Oh, this is so cute. Look how dainty and delicate that bow is. Love it. Okay, so now for this one, I just want to put the leaves like that and a couple of the holly berries on the leaves. See which is the right side. That's the right side. And I think for this I'm going to use glue dots because they're so tiny. Okay, that's the underside. I'm going to turn everything over and grab some glue dots. The reason I like the glue dots for little things like this is I can roll them and make them fit where I need them, and they hold really nice. So just another alternative for your adhesives. So I'm going to put one piece, I want them to be kind of down like that. And like that. And then I'm going to grab another glue dot. And see, I have it right there on the end of my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to roll it, and then I'm going to stick it right there, and I'm going to use this side to put that down. And now all we have to do is put our bow right here. That is Balmy Blue. There we go. So I'm going to grab that little tiny, so I'm going to cut that bow out of the blue, and that's going to suit it just fine. And I think I'm going to do the same thing there. I'm going to use a glue dot. Like I said, these mini glue dots are awesome to use. And if you have difficulty with them on the roll, I have a video under I Didn't Know I Needed to Know That, where you can see how I make my box, my dispenser. I like that. Just a little something extra for the middle. Alright, so we're ready now to assemble our card. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get our little critters set up. And I want my kitty cat over here, and I want him to look like he's holding on to the Santa hat, just about like that. So I'm going to put a dot of glue on his paw, and then I'm going to hang the Santa hat right about like that, like he's holding on to it. Give it a minute to dry, and then he's going right on top of that stocking. So I only need glue across this bottom, just like that. And then we're going to do the little hamster on top of this, the smaller stocking. So again, you just need a little tiny bit of glue across the bottom. And then we're going to do the puppy dog on this one. And again, we just want glue on the bottom edge. So now that we've got those glued, we are ready to bring over our card. Let's start with our mechanism first. So I want to go ahead and put this down in here. I'm going to use liquid glue for this because I want to have some wiggle room. Then all I'm going to do is lay this just like that from edge to edge. Press it down. Make sure that our mechanism is working here. So I'm going to push those pieces back. Make sure that's gluing down like it should. And press it really good. Then I'm going to take this bottom piece and we're going to run that right across the bottom, and I just want a tiny bit of white to show under it, so I'm going to use liquid glue for that as well. And remember, you can always use whatever your preference of adhesive is. You may want to use an an ATG, or you might want to use your Stampin Seal or the glue of your choice. Totally up to you. So this is our mechanism that's ready to go inside our card. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do the front of it. That way we don't have the extra bulk on our card. So we're going to go ahead and put this together. I'm going to put, I think for this one I'm going to use my Stampin Seal. Love the Stampin Seal Plus. It is one of my favorites. Only takes a little bit because it is so strong. Let's see, it's tearing my paper right there. So let's get it. There we go. Super strong adhesive. Now I want to set this down. So I like to go to one edge and kind of get everything lined up. And then I just go ahead and commit to the entire front. And I'm going to do the same thing on the back. So now this entire piece is going to go on our front of our card. Make sure you got your card in the right orientation. And I want to set that center just like that. Now we're ready to put, I'm going to set my sentiment here. I'm not ready to put it on yet, but I'm going to set it right there. And then these stockings are the ones that's going to go on the front. And this one right here. You see how pretty those are going to sit on there? We're going to pop these up with some dimensionals. I think 3 will hold this sufficiently. So that one there, and I'm going to go ahead and put my dimensionals on this one. And then that's going to go right there. It'll be over just a little bit. And then we're going to do the smaller one. I think for this one 2 will be sufficient. And I want this one to go up a little bit higher, but I want to be conscious of where my larger label is going to fall. So I'm going to put that right about there. And this one can go right about here. Now we're ready to glue this down, and I'm going to use just liquid glue. That looks pretty. Now all we need to do is stamp on this, and I used, on the other one I used the little stars and the Very Merry. So let's grab our little stars and the Very Merry. So I think I'm going to stamp the Very Merry first, and I'm going to do that in Cherry Cobbler ink. I'm going to line this up on a line on my work surface. Pick that up. So now I'm going to grab that Balmy Blue. And a smaller stamp block. So I got my stars, and I'm going to ink those up. I do want to check and make sure they're stamping So I'm going to grab a piece of scrap. Very pretty. So I am going to go all around. Bella is down here snoring up a storm, y'all. That is what my little Bella girl does the best. She snores. Bella, 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 Bella. Wake up, baby girl. Wake up. Yes, it's okay. She has an elongated palate that we discovered when she was a baby. And we had her nostrils opened a little bit more so she could breathe better. And her vet did not want to go in and do anything to the palate unless it was absolutely necessary. So we opted to let her be unless she starts to have really bad breathing issues. And sometimes she will get her tongue will go back too far, and I actually, when she's asleep, and she'll wake up gasping, and I have to stick my finger into her tongue and pull it down. It can be a little scary, but we've not had any problems, and the doctor said that the worst would happen is that she would pass out, and then she would relax enough so that it would be okay. So I trust my vet. So that's what I've done. I have not opted to take her in for the surgery because it cannot be undone, and if it doesn't work, it could make matters worse. So my vet suggested to leave her be. So that's what we've done. Alright, so there's my Very Merry, and we are going to pop that up on Dimensionals and put that down on the front. And this is going to go right about here. Just kind of center it in the middle. So that is the front of our card that's done. So now we're going to open it up, and this is the easiest part of the whole process. And no, it can look intimidating, but it really, really isn't. So we are going to put this piece completely in, folding this down just like that. And you want to crease this because we've added that paper on the inside, so it's a little bit more bulky than it was. So I'm going to grab my bone folder and really give this a good burnish. And you want to turn it over and do the other side as well. Just like that. And now all we're going to do is sit this in to our card. And for this I'm going to use Stampin Seal. And make sure you get it on your little pieces here. And I'm going to run one piece down this way and this way and down the side there. Now once I put this in, and you notice I didn't put any on that side because I want to use this as my guide, and then press that down, give it a good press, and now we're going to put adhesive on this side, and then that's going to make our mechanism pop up just like that. So now do the same thing, put your adhesive just don't be afraid of your adhesive. If you get some that rolls over, just roll it back onto itself if it's over the edges. Just like that. Hold it down. Okay, So now all we need to do is fold this down just like that. Close everything and give it a good press. Press those score lines really good. And now you have your pop-up mechanism in here. Before we put anything on here, I want to stamp a sentiment. And we're going to do Santa Paws is Coming to Town. I think that was the one I put in here. And this is such a cute card to give to anybody that has pets or that is a pet lover. We have lots of people that love their little pooches and kitties. So this one you want to make sure that your stockings are going to the bottom edge of this piece, but not to impede it. Because what you want to happen is for it not to come off of the edge of your card, so it needs to come all the way down to the bottom, just like that. And the best way to do that is to kind of guide your piece like that. And we're going to put the kitty cat here. And then we're going to have our little hamster in the middle, like that. So just make sure they come down to the bottom of that fold line and you should be fine. So I'm going to put just, oops, helps if I take the pen out of my glue. So I'm just going to put a little bit, you know, probably got a clog in this when I had it open a while ago. So I'm going to take and put just a tiny bit of glue right here on the tip of that toe. And I'm going to put him right there, making sure it doesn't go over that score line. That is crucial. So each time that you glue one down, you want to double check and make sure that the card, it will close. That mechanism is not impeding, and that one looks good. So then I'm going to take my next larger one and I want to do the same thing. I'm going to put glue just right across the toe. Do the same thing. That works good. And then we have our little hamster that's going to go right there. So for this one, I'm going to do a little bit more glue. And that one's going to go right there. And see how simple that was to make? I mean, it was, I would say this card's not hard, it's just time consuming. So I'm gonna double check, make sure I don't have any glue oozing out, because you don't want that to stick when you close it. So that's looking really good. So now I'm gonna grab my stamp that says Santa Paws is Coming to Town, and we're gonna stamp that right here in the cherry cobbler. So pick up this on there just like that. I do feel a little adhesive right there, so I'm just going to peel that off. Let's go ahead and get my pen back in my glue. Now if you want to, you could stamp this on a piece and raise it up and put it there, but we've got enough of bulk, so that's the reason why I want to stamp this straight down. So cherry cobbler. And remember something with our Stampin' Up! Inks, they're going to look much darker when you first stamp them like this looked very dark, and now it has dried and it's lightened. The same thing happens with any of our dark pigment inks. They will lighten. Okay, I'm using that paper to kind of line that up so it's nice and straight. And there we go. That was our finishing touch on this beautiful little pet card. Isn't that cute? Very merry. And you got your little critters that pop up when you lift up your card. I think anybody that is a pet lover or a child would love this card. I think it's gorgeous, and I hope you enjoyed the process of watching me make it. And my subscriber, I meant to look to find your name and I didn't, and I so apologize, but I will find you and I will put your name in the comments that you were the one that requested this card. And I did a little different with this, and you'll find out that no two cards will ever be the same. I didn't use the off-white on this. I used the basic white, or I didn't use the very vanilla, but the very same concept. The stockings are a little different, but you know what? It works, and it works perfect. So I hope you enjoyed the process. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. Until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.